The importance of waterfalls goes beyond just being a popular tourist destination, despite the fact that we have all been talking about them. In this article, we will examine the value of waterfalls to both those who live nearby and those who are far away, as well as the risks involved in destroying them. Waterfalls are widely distributed throughout the world, and the tranquil beauty they create in the areas where they are located is enough to leave a lasting impression. Water is filtered by waterfalls as they enter various rivers. Through the addition of oxygen, water filtration promotes the survival of several aquatic organisms. We would therefore lack fish to eat, and other aquatic animals would perish without waterfalls purifying the water, which would have an adverse effect on the ecosystem. Falls also contribute to the transformation of waste into nutrients that support plant growth. This is feasible because the bacterial growth that aids in the degradation of the wastes is made possible as they travel over the rocks before pouring into the rivers and lakes. Since the water from the many waterfalls is perfectly safe to drink even without boiling, it does not need to be treated. Waterfalls also help fish breathe properly and survive by introducing oxygen to the water sources from which they flow. When waterfalls are observed and reported by people who study the environment, they can demonstrate their significance for the environment by the following two factors. The presence of waterfalls on a river means that the river is in good health, which encourages the growth of trees and other vegetation along the river's banks. Because the plants stabilize the soil, the tree's presence also results in less soil erosion. The abundance of life around waterfalls, including people, plants, and animals like lizards, reptiles, wild birds, and others, is evidence that waterfalls also contribute to the maintenance of the ecosystem. The construction of dams deprives the forests of water flow, causing the trees to be destroyed and harming the nation's ecosystem. The value of waterfalls to human health has been discovered by several scientists, and all of these findings raise the question of why we fall asleep or feel comfortable when we are close to bodies of water like waterfalls, rivers, lakes, and oceans. Well, this has been addressed below with a few waterfall health advantages. The negative ions that are released as the water cascades down the rocks to fresh, refreshing water are what give waterfalls their tranquility. Especially throughout the day, waterfalls are calming. The negative ions from the waterfalls promote serenity because most individuals grow exhausted, especially during the day. Through the production of negative ions, they also aid in reducing the amount of free radicals that harm the body's cells, DNA, and proteins. Waterfalls can also aid with stress and depression reduction. Natural sources of negative ions, such as waterfalls, have been shown to improve mood and stress levels as well as certain people's ability to breathe. The abundance of negative oxygen ions produced by the falling water is what has the beneficial effect. The negative ions are very powerful and invisible as they are thrown into the air. It's like replenishing your own batteries when you breathe them in. You experience immediate renewal. You might even experience euphoria. You feel better as the amount of negative ions increases. Now, we don't need to turn this into a science class, but this is the fundamental backdrop. You are constantly being bombarded with positive ions from most workplaces, shops, factories, transportation, schools, and your cell phone. Looks good, doesn't it? Not so. You are being drained by positively charged oxygen ions, which are wholly negative. Sadly, Your body and brain experience negative effects as a result of those positive ions. You want the negative ions. They are obscured by the rushing water spray. More than just beautiful, those waterfalls that are falling are healthy. The oxygen atoms that make up the negative ions are those that have gained an additional electron, giving them their negative charge. You need to breathe in a lot of negative ions to get over the harmful environment of city living. The favorable effects of exposure to a good splash of negative ions on your metabolism, immune system, digestion, blood pressure, sleep, and emotional state have not yet been determined by researchers, but they do agree that they can. You can take advantage of all these benefits simply remaining stationary at a waterfall's base. The serenity brought on by the negative ions emitted somehow lessens tension and despair. People are able to live healthy lives without having dirty blood because to the negative ions that are generated by waterfalls. The body's cell metabolism is enhanced by the waterfalls through the release of negative ions. Help in raising the body's immune defenses by allowing negative ions to escape. Nature is the physical cosmos or world in its broadest sense. The term, nature, can be used to describe both universal life and the phenomena of the physical world. A significant, if not the only, component of science is the study of nature. There are many fascinating aspects of our surroundings that you might not be aware of. Learning more about how we relate to nature is one of the finest ways to enjoy the world around us. Here are some interesting environmental facts you may not be aware of.
We've lost touch with nature, and the greatest way to reconnect with it is to spend as much time in it as possible. Thanks for watching, and I hope you did enjoy. Visit my channel, Amazing Places on Planet EART, for more beautiful videos.